Hi, everyone. It's Pickleball Pat Batty, and I'm with my brand new co-host,
John Friesen. Thank
John.
you, Patrick.
Welcome.
Thank
Hey,
you.
we welcome everybody to Pickleball Today, the pod. We are just starting out season two. This is season two, episode one. We've been off the air for quite a while for a variety of reasons. I won't bore anybody with all the reasons, but they added up and they kept on coming. But we are here now. We're here live, and we're going to be doing this bi-weekly for the rest of this year.
That's
So
right. That's the
now,
hope. Yeah. Hopefully, we can get this to
that's
be a
the
little more regular. And there was a lot of people asking Patrick, sort of when this is going to happen, when we're going to get
yeah,
back to it.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Um, Holidays, everything under the sun. But we're going to have some fun. First of all, let's mention what we're going to talk about tonight, John, or this evening, or whenever
Mhm.
somebody's watching it. First of all, brand new carbon paddle, the Trufoam paddle, right?
That's right.
Carbon Trufoam. We got it right here. We played it. You've played it. I've played it. We've had some fun with it. Technically gets released on the 30th, I believe. And this podcast will be up just around on the 29th or 30th. So the timing is good. We're also going to talk about the Selkirk 008, which was released today. It's a similar kind of paddle. We'll talk about the similarities and differences. Uh, Paddle giveaways. We got new paddles that we're going to be giving away every month still. We've launched that contest again. I will encourage anybody to go to pickleballtoday.co/win
That's right.
to get all the details of that, but we'll mention it again later. We've got some controversy that's happening. Why don't you mention some of the other topics there, John?
Yeah, that's right. We got quite a bit of pickleball news. Surprisingly, it doesn't really slow down even despite the holidays or the break here. But I mean, certainly the Ben and Colin John split and sort of who Ben's going to play with now. And I guess we're in kind of wait and see mode as we approach the Australian Open at this point. We've got
Yeah,
Federico Staksrud as well, and the big Adidas deal there, and not to mention the drama around Kwangdong and Selkirk. I mean, that's an exciting one. I don't think it's bad form for us, Patrick, though, to maybe kick today's show off by wishing a big happy 18th birthday to Annalie Waters. It's kind of a
18.
monumental one. 18, my gosh, she's
Pretty crazy.
already 18,
I know.
and
That's kind
you
of
know,
crazy.
right?
The impact she's had in the game already at age 18. I think she started as a pro at 13.
It wasn't really. Yeah, I don't think she was that old, but man, she's changed the game for sure.
Yeah, no
But yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, big birthday celebration for her. And then there's some other equipment news that we're going to get into, but certainly there's a lot of topical pickleball news that we can discuss. But
Absolutely.
let's get into this paddle. I mean, that
Well, hang on.
came.
We got something to do before that.
Oh, we do.
We do. We want to know about John Friesen.
Oh
We
boy.
want to know about John Friesen. I know you were bashful and you didn't want to say.
I was hoping to skip over that part, right? So it's uh, Patrick, thanks so much. I really appreciate you having me and join you on the podcast here. This is very exciting for me to be a part of, and certainly it's something that I really wanted to get involved with. But just knowing really your motivation behind it, I think is what inspired me more than anything else. Really, how any proceeds that you get as a result of this podcast or any of your ambassador work or anything like that goes to support your wife's long-term care,
Yeah.
and that to me got me right here. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I admire the heck out of that, and so
Yeah,
really
thank you.
that was
I
an
mean, it's a
exciting
hard
thing.
thing to, it's a hard thing to even talk about, to be honest. But it's in Canada. It's an expensive process and one beyond most people to all of a sudden have to come up with another $2,500 a month or whatever. Hey, in the
Absolutely.
U.S. it would be worse, right? But but anyway, that's where the proceeds go. Aside from that, though,
Yeah,
um,
no,
it,
absolutely. So,
yeah,
but before I get too far into that, Patrick, I just
yeah,
want to just kind of, put this plug out there. So if anybody is looking for a cause of support and you have a couple extra dollars in your pocket or at the end of the month, by all means, please give to your local Alzheimer's Society. It makes a world of difference. And,
absolutely,
and, and we've known that. We see that firsthand with some of the people in our lives and people we know. So,
yeah,
please consider that as your charity of choice.
yeah,
So a little bit about me, Patrick. So we'll
yeah,
get this out of the way real quick. I play pickleball with Patrick, and it's I learn a lot there just from him and his game and really just talking to him. But for me, in my professional life, I work in communications and media. I've been, kind of around between government and private sector, and for the last many years, I guess, in the energy sector. And so that's sort of where I exist now. So this is a fun hobby to be a part of. But pickleball for me has really kind of been an outlet that has changed my life dramatically. In that, when I discovered it, thanks to my friend Sam, who kind of encouraged me to get into it. Really, it's created an outlet for me to not only de-stress, get healthy, make a whole new circle of friends. I'm more active. I find I play most days. And it's kind of given me the confidence to do things that I wouldn't have otherwise tried. I mean, I ran a couple 5K runs this past fall, and asked me a couple of years ago, and I would have told you I would never do that, but here I am. But the game itself, I fell in love with it. I fell all in. I used to play tennis when I was younger. And now here I am playing pickleball, and now I'm talking about it on the podcast, for God's sake. So it's it's
global domination coming up.
Yep, I'm
wise, podcast wise, whatever.
That's right.
It's just a lot of fun, and I enjoy. I will mention I just have gravitated to John right away. He's an infectious personality. I think a lot of people at our club would say that. Just a super, super nice guy. He can hit the ball like first of all, John is a big man. He's a big man, and I am a little man. And John can hit the well. I'm 5'9", and I don't know how tall you are, John, but you're more than 5'9", and you're sturdy. And John can hit the ball well. I keep on saying, don't get a harder paddle, man. Get a softer paddle. But just such a good player, and you haven't been playing for a long, long time, but man, you have picked this up fast.
Yeah, and I think having a tennis background really helps.
Yeah.
I'm still coming off a bit of some knee pain, but I played on the weekend at a place in Mississauga called Raleigh. If you get a chance, find yourself in South Mississauga and Arid Mills area, by all means, check it out. It's a fun little spot. But I was playing with a couple of people there that I found to be really good, talented players. And the one I asked her, I said, how long have you been playing? And she said, not very long, but I grew up playing tennis. And so you kind of hear that a lot, but really it's, that's often the sort of transition from any other sport to pickleball. More often than not, they play tennis. So a few badminton players too.
I played tennis as well. Again, it was a long time ago, but I did always have an affinity to racket sports more than other sports. For instance, like golf, I worked at for 50 years and never got good. Tennis, I played for a few weeks and got adequate. Right. And it's like, I just didn't have it for golf. I like being active. I like moving. I don't like sitting around thinking about a shot for 5 minutes because my brain will do something to self-destruct. Just actually, even those long, slow pickleball shots can do that too.
Right.
Anyway, well, first of all, thank you, John. And we have, speaking of Raleigh, I was talking to some people from there today. We can't announce an upcoming guest, but we got some guests about to be on the podcast in coming weeks from some of our pro teams in Ontario. It looks like I'm going to be working with one of the pro teams just as a volunteer basis as well going forward. But we will announce that when it's ready to announce. Now, topics today. We might as well get right into it, John, and I'll let you lead. Oh, well, why don't we start with the Trufoam paddle, or do we want to keep that as a teaser for later?
Yeah, let's keep them pulling in for a bit longer, Patrick.
Yeah. Okay. Because you want to know whether this thing is for real or not. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So I've had a bit of time with it, but Patrick has had considerably more. And I think you played 3.5 hours yesterday, Patrick. I mean,
no, 2.5.
2.5. Sorry, I thought.
And I probably would be in traction or something today. But I played 2.5 yesterday, and I played a couple hours the day before. My 2.5 yesterday wasn't all with the Trufoam, but a big chunk was. 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm glad you're feeling better. So let's talk about some of the equipment. So I think we've got, equipment is really seemingly the big topic these days. Probably nothing more than paddles. And I think a lot of people are tuning into sort of paddle news and staying up to date. And part of it comes from this guy right here. So the E01 PA15, this thing is incredible. And I picked one up just for more posterity than anything else, because I always wanted to try it and play it a little bit, and I could see why it's banned. And I was talking to a couple club pros, and they were telling me exactly the same thing. And in their words were, it feels like cheating when you're using it. So I think the news that sort of took the pickleball world by storm was the banning of the mod. And now what? Since there've been many people that have been sort of really adopting it as their primary paddle, and now all of a sudden it's no longer legal. And so I think, there we have maybe some concerns from, not necessarily rec players, maybe, I guess, but primarily the, pros and people looking to go pro. Now what? Yeah. Do those wins still count? Does this affect my record now that this thing's banned? I mean, it'll be officially sunsetted in July of this year. Yeah. So you got a few months to adapt or adjust to a new paddle, and I think you have till March 1st to trade it in and get a discount on the new models for EULA. But,
so you can trade yours in now that you just bought it if you wanted to.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, well, I can't trade it in, but I can get 50% off the new.
Oh, okay. Got
the new version. So I mean, right. I don't want to trade it in.
You bought it to keep it as a memento, and so everybody could call you a cheater going forward.
Exactly. It's a neat if you hang it on the wall behind you, Patrick, and then you can kind of just hold it there as like a relic of like olden days past, and certainly have a lot of fun with it. But
you don't have to get any extra power, as I said.
No, certainly not.
Paddle. Everybody, so it's legal to play until the end of July or beginning of July.
Beginning of July, as I understand. I forget the exact date. Oh God, it keeps changing. It's March 1st, I believe, is the deadline for registering your paddle and getting qualifying for the discount. And I believe it's July 27th. Don't quote me on that, Patrick. I'll look it up here while we're going through this.
But in the range of the end of July.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That means it's eligible to be played in the PPA Tour, MLP, CMPL, the Canadian ones. Canadian CPA Pro Tour, CMPL, all that, I assume, until that date. And I think all of the tours are going to go with the same date. And it's also eligible to be played in your regular USAPA or Pickleball Canada, Pickleball Ontario tournament.
That's right. Until the July 1st, confirmed. So it was July
1st. Okay. Yeah. So, again, I don't have one, so I don't have to worry about it. All of my paddles are currently legal.
Well, I have a question. Sorry, Patrick, to interrupt, but I'm playing a tournament in February, and I haven't ruled out using this as the paddle for that tournament. Now, maybe this is an opportunity for folks to get in touch with the show, whether it's on our social channels or however, and we can do a little poll, perhaps, and say, should John be playing with this in February, yes or no?
Question.
Right? So,
if we can figure out how to post a poll, we will. Or just leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
In fact, by the way, by leaving it in a comment, or something's showing up as low battery. Let me double check what it is before we. What is that? What's low? Let me double check. I don't want the whole thing to go down the drain.
Uh-oh. Hopefully
unfortunately, there's no pause button in this whole situation. I do not know what device it is. It's not telling me. Oh, I see. It is the laptop. You keep talking about stuff. I'm going to get the power plugged in, and we may have to edit out, but I'll just go get power so we're not going to die.
Okay, I think this is the highlight of the show so far, Patrick.
There we go. Yeah.
These funny little sort of things that happen along the way is all part of the adventures, how I see it. We've got a lot going on in the world of pickleball these days. I mean, we had all kinds of notes. We were going to talk about really the results of the Masters tournament. There was a lot of activity there, some drama, that I think is kind of been talked to death. So for those that follow the PPA, certainly that was a tournament to watch. If you didn't get a chance to see it, I would recommend going back to watch it. Probably on YouTube is probably your best bet. But watching the back and forth in the exchange with Ben Johns and Kwang Dong as well, it's just the shot heard around the world, as Zane Navratil said. there's so much going on when you're watching pickleball, but more so when you're engaged. So
I didn't watch that whole tournament, but I did see, and we're fine with power now.
Okay, great.
I did see Ben's shot. I guess basically it was one, not a. Would you recall it? He said it was a warning, or you could think of it as a retaliation. One moment. There we go.
Oh. And I've got a cat meowing outside my studio here, Patrick.
Now, we have family out putting dishes away. There we go.
Oh, that's all right. But it's I think
there we go. Now we're all set. I guess Kwang has been hitting some shots kind of close to people's heads, and a certain level of, just like any pro sport, there's a level of respect. Like hockey has its own rules. And some of them are enforced by the officials, and some of them are enforced by the players.
That's right.
And in this case, nothing was enforced by officials, but Ben thought he would send a warning to Kwang by taking a mean, vicious cut at it and aiming right at him. And that ball would have gone about 2 miles if it didn't hit something. But whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. Only pros know that, really, because they know their code. As we see here in hockey, the code. We don't know the code, but it looked nasty at the time. I'll tell you.
It's true. It was part of the unspoken rule. Like, body shots are okay. Like, you can body bag the guy across the net, but once you start getting kind of above the shoulders is when it gets really dicey, and that's when it's stop doing it to us. Here's a warning. If you're going to keep doing it, I'll do it back, and that's what we saw there. I think there was just maybe too much opinion from everybody involved after the fact that kind of made it the big story that it was. So
that's social media, right? It's hey, look, the PPA promotes that.
That's right.
The players promote it. PPA promotes. Getting eyeballs on anything these days is seeming to be what matters, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
eyeballs on this podcast. That's what we want.
Yeah. I know. I don't really think about. I don't think that way because of my age, but I don't know. But anyway, the way of the world right now is hot takes and anything to get a reaction, I guess. Yeah. So hey, speaking of Ben and Colin have split up as players as well, as a team.
Yeah.
Ben has not announced his new partners yet. Is that right?
Not that I've heard. I mean, that could change by the time this thing airs. But at last count, I haven't heard anything. But
now I assume he's still partnering. I'm sorry to interrupt. I assume he's still partnering with Leigh Waters.
I would imagine. My gosh, why would you play with anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah. Why would he change that? I don't know. So I think we're only talking men. So he and Colin won't be partners for the season. They might play one-offs. He'll announce who he's going to be with. Has Colin announced? Do you know that?
He was exploring a couple different partners. I think he had his shortlisted. I don't know that he's officially announced, and I don't want to steal his thunder. Not that I know the answer, but certainly let him do it on his own.
Okay.
But we'll wait and see. I think, looking forward to a couple of days from now when the Australian Open starts, and you'll be able to see for yourself at that point. Yeah. So tune in. I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about.
While we're here, let me. We didn't really do much of an intro about the podcast in general, but we will do a fast one right now, again, and we will ask of you folks if you're enjoying what you're hearing. If you want to support us at all, just give us a like. First of all, it just helps spread the word. It's just the way the algorithms work. Give us a share, give us a comment, leave a comment. And if you want to win a free paddle, go to pickleballtoday.co/win. And we're giving away a pro level paddle, in the $200 range. We've got a bunch of paddles here where they're just collecting dust here, except for the, one or two favorite ones. And rather than sit around here, we might as well give them to people who want them. And the people who want them that are our supporters are the ones that are going to get them. So go to there. There's instructions on what to do. It's all involving helping, sharing, liking, commenting, and all that. You get more opportunities. And believe me, because we are not a massive podcast, yet before global domination.
That's right.
You have a really good chance of winning, like maybe a 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 or whatever. I mean, maybe if we get rolling here, it'll be less. But for now, you got a good chance of winning. So go to pickleballtoday.co/win, and hopefully you're the person who's going to get it. We ship it from here. We pay for the shipping. You don't have anything. We just got to get in contact with you. We do that by email. You'll be on an email list, so stay on the email list, or we have no way to contact
That's
you.
That's right. Yeah.
Because we don't ask for a phone up front. I'm going to cough, so John, you keep rolling for a bit.
You bet. I was also just going to kind of add to that, Patrick, that if you're listening to us on Spotify or any of your other podcast platforms, your favorite podcast platforms, give us a 5-star review or a like there. It really helps kind of expand the show's reach, and we can reach more audiences at that point. And who knows? Just the more the merrier, the way we see it. But I do want to give one quick shout out to my son Luke, who has been promoting this, to everybody he talks to, not only at his university but at his work and elsewhere. So there was a lot of people asking, when are you going to finally record it? So here we are. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Luke, for the shout out. So to everybody that heard about this podcast through Luke, please make sure you like and share and engage with us and help promote the show.
We maybe have a paddle for you here anyway too. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll get the old man to pay for it, but anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway.
What's its invoice for Pickleball today? Yeah,
we really appreciate it. But we probably have one. Anyway, does Luke play?
He does a little bit. Yeah, him and a couple of his friends, they played with me over the summer and the fall. But he's busy with university and his job, and girls are more interesting than his old man playing pickleball. So it's that type of thing. Yeah, but he does play. He enjoys the game. We'll have to drag him out to the club one of these days, Patrick.
That would be fun. Let's do it. Do it. Let me. And I'll mention that you mentioned Spotify again. We are on every podcast hosting platform: Apple, Amazon, Audible, which I think that's cool.
That is cool.
I think that's cool. I mean, unfortunately, you don't have to pay for a subscription to us, but if you have an Audible subscription, it's right there. Audible, iHeartRadio, I don't know, a bunch of others. And so anytime we post. Now, the main place that people see our podcast usually is YouTube, to see the video format. This goes out in audio and video. It's the same thing, but YouTube is where that is. And we have a playlist for Pickleball for the podcast on YouTube. Okay, so that's where you'll see us, and that again, once you start following, you'll get all the news you want. So, what do you think? Should we talk about these paddles?
I think so. I think we've kind of kept people waiting long enough. I'll start with the full disclosure here, though, Patrick. That I'm a carbon ambassador, so I might be, hyping up the carbon stuff a little more than others.
That's okay.
But that's
we're going to be realistic. We're going to be realistic. Yeah. We'll give you your code, though, for sure.
Absolutely. So if anybody wants 10% off any carbon gear, use the promo code CarbonJohn. So CRBN GOHN, and get 10% off any purchase from Carbon. You might want to purchase this new Trufoam paddle once you hear Patrick talk about the paces that he put it through and really the result of it. And I only mentioned the ambassadorship as part of a background for why we have this paddle now, since the public release is not for a couple of days yet, as you know, as Patrick mentioned earlier. So we were able to get a hold of the paddle fairhand because of my affiliation with Carbon. And I'm still coming off a knee injury, so I did get to bat it around a little bit, but Patrick came to my house and picked it up, and here he is really putting it through the motions. So
we went through snowstorm and blizzard and everything else to get there.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about it. I played with it for the last 2 days, extensively on day one, and about half of my 2.5 hours yesterday. First of all, I played 2.5 hours yesterday. That on its own is news. I had last winter in Florida, I was playing 2.5 hours fairly regularly, but dying near the end. And then I wasn't able to do it. I was off injured and all kinds of things that when I finally came back, even an hour was a struggle. So I noticed about a couple of weeks ago that my energy just completely went down the drain this is slightly before carbon here, went down the drain after playing 1 hour. And at the end of it, and I've been working on I'm always working on losing some weight. But anyway, I realized afterwards that I just didn't have any energy in me. So probably a low blood sugar thing. I'm not a scientist and don't know lots about it, but I thought, I hadn't had dinner. I didn't have a snack or anything during the game. I was drinking water, and I usually have the stuff in it to help. What do you call that?
The electrolytes.
Electrolytes, yeah. But boy, I had zero energy, and I was dying. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been very much concentrating on have my meal before I play, a couple hours before usually, but also take some snacks with it. Now, someday we'll find out some really good things to take as opposed to just what I happen to have in the house, or maybe a good product that we can share with somebody or a company that wants to tell us about them. But right now I'm just saying have something and have a snack. So I've just been using, the sweet and salty bars or a protein bar or things like that.
Yeah, banana is also a good choice too.
Yeah, banana, that would be even a better choice probably, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, the point I was getting to is gradually I've gone from dying at 1 hour to being able to play 2.5 hours. And yeah, I was a little bit slower in the last 15 minutes, but I was really playing well, even right through the last 15 minutes. Whereas before, when I died, not only was I not playing well, I wasn't thinking well, I wasn't doing anything. So the low blood sugar, if that's what it is, really does things to you. So I was quite pleased to go 2.5 hours. I have no muscle pain, no anything pain. If I was selling a product, I'd be selling it like crazy right now, but I'm not. It's just the reality of actually thinking about what was going on and coming up with the solution. So back to and again, someday we'll learn a bit more about some products and things like that.
Well, we're all glad you're okay after that 2.5 hour run.
Yeah. I honestly got it. And I played really well. So, it's always my partners that are screwing up all the time. I don't know why.
I think that's everyone's excuse. It's an experience that most people have. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm the Trufoam. First of all, it's a cool paddle cover. I won't get into it in a big way, but it is a nice looking paddle cover.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this?
It's a little deviation from the last version that the Carbon used to have, which was, so it was the carbon gear on the one side. So what you're seeing on the one that Patrick has on the Trufoam is a real close-up version of this, from what I understand.
Oh,
and so, it's kind of creates that
like your generic cover, but with the logo on it, right?
That's right.
This one is certainly much more attractive and interesting. So let's talk about this paddle before, and then first of all, what is different about this? The main thing that's different, and John, you can get into real specifics, is just about every pickleball paddle made these days has a honeycomb core on the inside. So it's a honeycomb polymer or plastic, depending on what you want to call it, inside. And that honeycomb, excuse my coughing again, John.
Oh, it's all right. We're all kind of
that honeycomb can crush over time. It doesn't always do it. I've got paddles that I've used for 1.5 years that have not done it, but it can. Okay, and by crushing, that means all of a sudden it has flex then in places that it didn't have it before. If you push down on a paddle, you can, if it's got that kind of, if it crinkles and you can hear noises in there, that means it's crushed, or what the other term is delaminated. Okay. This paddle is 100% unique, one of 2 in the world now that is not made that way. There were other types of paddles before, wooden and that, aside, but of this modern contemporary paddle, this is now made with a solid piece of a proprietary foam on the inside. From the entire head right down through the handle is one piece of foam And the type of foam is a proprietary foam made, cooked up by carbon.
Sure.
The other thing about the foam, now we could maybe add a photo if we have it or now or later, is it has little slots here and there, like a little dash of a slot here and here, all the way around, so that there's no foam in slots. There's holes here and there, and that allows the metal part of it to have a wee bit of a flex. Okay, now you don't notice a flex. If you squeeze the paddle, you notice a little bit, but it's not like this is like a trampoline, the way maybe your mod is.
No.
Okay.
And I'm trying to find this photo here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. If you have it, great. If not, don't worry about it. We can add it in later. But, think of one piece. The nice thing is it's one piece. So what that does, and what I noticed when I played, is it just felt consistent. It felt very solid. The paddle did not feel hard, did not feel harsh. It has a very nice grit to it. And I will, as far as playing and me playing, I've had 2 days, and I had 2 different days. So this is why you want to try a paddle out for more than one day.
Yeah.
Because you have good days and bad days. Now the paddle doesn't, but you don't want to have the greatest day in the world and buy a pick a number $500 paddle, and then find out that was just a fluke. And the next day you don't have that, and you've got a $500 paddle that you don't want to play. So here's what went on when I played this. For the first hour, day one was a 2-hour session. 90 minutes. For the first hour, I was on fire. I could not believe how good I played. I could not miss a shot. I could not miss a serve. My serves were as good as I've ever hit in my life. And in fact, I would say the pickleball was almost as good as I've ever hit. Now, I have been playing a lot better recently. But boy, I was shocked at how good I played right off the bat, like from the very first serve. You would think it would take a while to get used to something. It was great. It was great. Now, at the end, I think in the middle, I switched paddles just for a few minutes, didn't notice the difference, then went back to this, and then I didn't play so well. But now maybe there's a fatigue kicking in.
Maybe.
But
if that's like the 85-minute mark, then that's possible.
I was shocked at how good. Now, yesterday, I played with it again. Out there was 2.5 hours. Again, I had a lot of good shots, but I didn't have a consistent 1 hour of, walking on water, pickleball. I did not do that. I was up and down with this, and I was up and down with the next paddle I played with. But overall, I still played very well for 2.5 hours. So I can't say that this paddle compared to, I'm cut on a wire here. I don't have the other one on the wall that I played with.
Which was that, the Selkirk, the Halo?
Yeah, I don't have it sitting right there. But anyway, I played a Selkirk Pro, maybe. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Oh, I thought it might be in your pickleball bag, Patrick.
Yeah, well, I wanted to decorate today, so I
was it okay?
So I played with this one as well. And this really is evolved into one of my 2 main paddles right now. Selkirk Pro 14mm XL Halo. And excuse the voice, guys. Sorry, this has gone on for a month. And this is, I've been playing this more than anything. So I'm really used to this paddle. And again, by sticking with a paddle for a while, this one of 2 that I've been playing with. The other is a 6-0 paddle. But by sticking with 1 or 2 paddles, instead of bopping around with different ones every week the way I was last year when I was testing so many, I've just gotten much more consistent with it. Yeah. So one versus the other, I think this one is marginally better. I would think marginally better. I would think this one is extremely good. And it's a matter of just trying them, right? This one's a lot less money, but also this one may break down. It does have honeycomb inside. Okay. Now the outside is a Kevlar and carbon mix. This is what's the outside of this? I just assume carbon fiber, right?
Yeah. That's,
yeah. They both have similar grit with a T. But I would assume this paddle will last a bit longer than any other paddle out there. So that's my take on it. Now, I mentioned there's two paddles. Do you mind if I continue into...
Oh, of course.
I don't have the other one. The other paddle, literally, so this comes out officially on 2 days from now. The other one came out today, and that's a Selkirk 008. Now, Selkirk has a series called the Labs series. The Labs series are no joke as far as price. They list price are $333 US. They ship from the US. They don't sell in retail that I know of in Canada. And so by the time they get to Canada, oh, by the way, in this one, the carbon is when you get to Canada, it's about $400, isn't it, John?
It is, yeah, roughly. So when you log onto the carbon site, it's going to ask you if you're viewing from Canada, and it'll automatically change the pricing accordingly. So you can see there, yeah, it's in. What's the exchange rate and everything? It's around 400.
Right.
But definitely worth it, as you heard from Patrick. So
yeah. So that was 400. This is 189. But the new Labs one, though, it works out to in Canadian dollars for people in Canada 500. With all the shipping and everything else. Whereas if you're in the States, it's $333 US and the shipping's free and there's no brokerage and there's no duty and customs and all that stuff. So $500 is a big gulp for anybody in any sport. Unlike, well, certainly for a retired senior. Let me put it that way. I'm on a different budget than John is. And so I'm not spending $500 on a single paddle. For me, now look I've got a lot of paddles. I don't want to collect paddles anymore. I've gone through that phase. I want paddles that I'm going to really play. So I want to play with them for a bit, like I've been doing with this, and I may get one of these, and like I've been doing with this. Okay. Yeah. So do I think this is better? Yeah, probably. Is it twice as good? Well, no paddle's twice as good. But it's a matter of what suits your game, right? It's really a matter of what suits your game. And yeah, I mean, you like to buy things online. I like to buy things online. It's easy. But if you have a chance to try anything out, give it a try, because it's hard for us to forecast what you would like. And we're not trying to sell you anything or anything that you don't want, right?
Yeah. Well, I am, but
I know John is, but
I'm teasing. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything.
Oh, I forgot to give you the comparison, John, about the 008. The difference between this and the 008, I don't have an 008 in stock. I may have a Labs up there. No, I don't. First of all, it comes in a cool metal case.
Ooh,
like a suit, like a little briefcase. At least the one I saw does. Now, whether that was a special version, I don't know.
Maybe it's like a 007 kind of secret spy thing. Is that what they're trying to go for?
Eula did that with a Ben Johns edition $1,000 paddle last year, commemorative one. So I don't know if every 008 comes with it. Check the Selkirk Labs website. But they do come with a Labs. I don't have a box or anything. Come in a nice box. They come with a nice case. I do have the case. Big, nice, beautiful case on these. I do have that. I will show you.
Yeah. So
this is your typical Labs case. And there's even a fancier one. Pardon me. That's the regular Selkirk case with the Labs. There, I got a lot of packs, right? So here's the Labs case.
So Patrick gets all the really good Selkirk stuff for anybody that didn't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I bought these things, right? There's a typical. That's a Project 005, and that's the case, and they're pretty slick, right? So it's very nice, quilted inside and all that. So they do it up. But again, what it's worth to you, I don't know. I haven't played the 8. The difference between the 8 and the carbon, though, is the 8 has a proprietary foam core, solid foam, probably a little softer than the carbon foam, but it doesn't have the slots. So it's not going to break down, just like, again, like the honeycomb, but it still has some give to it, but that give isn't oriented to the interior versus exterior. It's the entire bit of foam, the entire hunk of foam is one solid piece with no slots cut into it. And that's about it. There might be, I think, a little bit of, again, exterior foam around the edge.
Yeah, so I've got this image here, and I don't know if we can see that. So this, maybe I'll just pull it back a little bit. But you can see...
you got the Trufoam on the right. Trufoam on the right, and the carbon
Trufoam there. The voids in there are actually, they're holes in the paddle itself, whereas the Selkirk on the other side is one solid piece of foam. Now, what Carbon has done, and which I thought was really clever, is by them using these sort of gaps in the actual core, they've created a broader sweet spot. Now, on the paddle itself, you can kind of see there's this dot pattern, and it's more aesthetic than anything else, but it kind of emphasizes where that sweet spot is, and it's not only a really cool look, but also really shows how big that sweet spot is, even in an elongated paddle. Like we've got the Carbon Trufoam 1 here. I'll be getting the 2 and the 3 as well, but for the shape of the 1, it gives you a much broader sweet spot than you had historically with the other Carbon 1s, whether it was the original or the 1X. And so I don't know. I found it to be pretty forgiving all around.
I thought the idea of the slots around it was cool until I played the 008. I mean, I can't really compare how they play, right? I won't do that. That's not fair to anybody. But then I would know which one I like better. And I like $400 better than $500. I know that. But that's about it.
So what Patrick's trying to say is, so anybody at Selkirk that's listening right now, send him one of the 008 so he can properly test it, and he can do a comparison on the Trufoam and the 008. That's what I heard there.
So, we would love it. I'm not holding my breath, but we would love it.
Yeah,
and we'll try. Yeah, we will definitely try, and we'll do a real honest comparison. John, first of all, again, let me remind people, give us a like, give us a share, leave us a comment or question or anything. Future episodes, by the way, I think we're going to live stream them as well. So that means you can type in questions on the fly and leave comments and call us names and do whatever you want to do on the fly, and we will respond. We wanted to get 1 or 2 of these out underway before we started adding that to it, but the capability is there. If you want to paddle, want a free paddle, or at least a chance to win one, and a very high level chance to win one, go to pickleballtoday.co/win. Click on that. It'll tell you everything you want to do, and the more of the things that it asks you to do, which are all just normal likes, comments, shares, that kind of stuff, follows or whatever on whatever platform, or subscribes. Even probably the best is on subscribing on YouTube. Do it there, and then stay on the email list. And when we draw the name at the end, which will be at the end of February, we will get in touch with you and let you know what the paddle is and get your address from you so we can ship it out to you, no charge.
Yeah, and Patrick has all those paddles behind him on his wall there. I mean, we should just give them all away. Yeah, we just can't.
I've got those. I've got 25 or 30 in my closet that I was rifling through to find. Like, look at the most expensive one I had is sitting lonely in my closet.
Oh, geez, and you don't even play with it.
No, I don't play with it.
Yeah. Well,
I did for a while. And just like everything else, it's just you find out what you like and you find out what you don't, and it wasn't my cup of tea.
That's right. Well,
right?
It happens.
Anything else, John, on your end?
Yeah, a couple of things. So I just, while we're on the topic of products here too. So, I just before we got on to the record the show today, I got an email from EULA announcing the Agassi partnership and the collaboration that they have there with Andre Agassi and EULA. So I guess that paddle is now being released soon. So anybody you want to send us one, let Patrick put it through the paces, and we'll see how hard he can hit with it. If he can manage to play 2.5 hours with that, or if it's gonna,
Yeah.
he'll forget all about time and play for 4 straight hours, and we'll see. But yeah,
our contact info is on pickleballtoday.co.
That's right. So reach out to us with any new equipment suggestions, and we're happy to put it through the paces. I've got two other pieces of equipment I want to talk about, Patrick. One is really the release of the carbon balls that came along with the paddles too. So I've been playing with this one, and not much of a difference in my view between the Franklin X40 and this one, but it's cool branding, so I kind of like it. So I figured, what the heck, a buy 6-pack, and there we go.
I played with it. It was fine. It was good. I mean, again, nobody's going out of their way to buy a particular brand of ball, but people, I mean, the industry standard, at least where we're playing, by the way, is an indoor court, but on an outdoor surface. Yeah. So that's why, and the Franklin ball is probably the most popular in that environment. Right. I play Crown Pickleball. We are an affiliate for Crown, and it's all on our website. But Crown, coming to Canada, for instance, only ships in bulk.
So you have to buy 100 at a time, is that?
Yeah. But it's okay. I mean, I've been handing them out at the clubs. People like them. You end up not playing with a ball forever. I mean, they all go out around at some point or crack or whatever. Yeah. I've found Crown's outdoor ball, which is what we play indoors, is fine. I found their indoor ball was cracking a lot at the other club I play with. So I'm not recommending their indoor ball, but I do recommend their outdoor ball. But either one, whatever. And though you had some glasses you wanted to mention too, and then I've got the ones that I'm playing with.
I did, yeah. So I don't wear glasses like Patrick. So I'm not. I don't have that safety aspect. So I've been really looking for a proper pair of safety glasses to play with. Last summer, I did take a ball just above the eye, and I had a substantial bruise to show for it. And it was a bit of an eye opener, if you will. How's that for? Yeah, thank you. Really just it gave me pause for thought that I should be taking my eye safety a lot more seriously. So I ordered a pair of nice head glasses, but what I found was they were fogging up on me a little bit, and I didn't particularly like that. So I was on the lookout for something else. And then I saw another member at the club playing with these goggles that were kind of half and half split, but they were open in the middle. But they were still a little bit distracting, but they did work and certainly served the purpose. And I felt a lot more confident. I tend to play a bit of a harder game, and oftentimes my opponents will kind of match that energy. And then you just kind of open yourself up for an errant ball, and you want to be safe about it. But what I did find was these kitchen blockers. Made famous probably by no more so than Jeannie Bouchard, who recently started wearing these. And when I purchased them on Saturday, the fellow at the pro shop I was talking to said he can't keep these in stock. That as soon as Jeannie Bouchard started playing with these, they sold out. They can't make them fast enough. And
the power of endorsements, huh?
Absolutely, but it wasn't even an endorsement or paid or otherwise. Well, I guess it might have been. I don't know if it was paid or not, but he wears it well, and it was just something worth looking into. So I bought a pair. They retail for about $80 here, but they fit well. They're easily adjustable. They have extra pads if you want to kind of have them space be further off your face or different parts. So really, they're quite adjustable and suitable to any shape of face. I have a bit more of a narrow eyes. Sputter on my eyes, I guess. Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to getting back in and playing with these and having that confidence to not have to worry about my eyes and focus solely on my game, but also not have the lenses fog up. And so that's where I think the difference is going to be in these for me. So stay tuned. We'll talk about it next time and see how they play for me, but I'm pretty excited about it.
And I do wear distance. Well, I wear bifocals. I'm about to have surgery that I won't have bifocals anymore. But what I've done is I'm noticing I'm not needing the distance glasses element with pickleball now if I'm playing in good light. And our club, a court in Kitchener, has very good light. Actually, too bright in a few spots, right? There's some blind spots because they're not diffused enough.
But, especially on court 3, I think that's the big one.
Yeah. And I have now gone to these glasses. These are not a prescription, but I am seeing just fine with these. And they are not an expensive glasses. They're like photo gray. They will get darker under if you're outside.
Okay.
In the sunlight. Inside, they haven't been getting darker. I don't know how sexy I look with these, but I know that everybody else looks sexy when I'm wearing them because I can really, I'm seeing well with them. And I honestly feeling more confident standing there because, we're all, I hate to say it, but we're all a bit of hackers once in a while. And we all make mistakes. Nobody's paying us, like Jeannie Bouchard money to play pickleball. And she makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But us regular folk are out there trying to have fun, trying to have a good time. And we don't, there's enough ways to get injured in any sport. You don't need to do it unnecessarily. And for me, these are, I think it's called Rock Brothers or something like that. It's on Amazon. I'll dig it out. I think they were like $25 or $30. And they just are fine. They do not have a full, frame around like yours do, which would be better. Although I also am wearing a cap all the time, so I got a lot of protection here. The ball's coming at my eye. Chances are it's going to hit the brim or hit in here. If it really was going to sail, it might pop that lens back. So unlike your eye blockers would, but
kitchen blockers,
but I feel confident with them. I can see well. They haven't been fogging up inside at all. Like I literally didn't know I was playing with them on day 2, and but they did fog up when I was playing outside in the summer. Now some of that was real hot weather too. So like we had some 40-degree days, and I was out there for a little bit during that. By the way, we didn't really mention we are talking. We've been talking about products and things like that. We are both based in Canada, but you know what? About a third or 2/3. In fact, lately it's been 2/3 of our viewers are in the U.S. So by default, we think in Canadian dollars because that is what we spend. Any link we have, you can buy it in U.S. dollars. You can buy it in Canadian dollars. In that, so we get country specific only because we live in a particular country. Obviously, the currency makes a big difference in the dollar value, especially right now. The Canadian dollar is around 65 cents US, so you can add 35-40% on any US dollar price to come up with the Canadian, right?
Yeah. So if you're looking at that, like I was going to say, just even with the Trufoam paddle in the U.S. it's retailing for about $270, and I'm paying just over $400. I think it was like $402 is what it worked out to after the exchange, and so it is pretty dramatic. But
and same point. With the Selkirk 08, $333 in the U.S. There was a slight early discount right now. I can't remember how much it was, but anyway, all that by the time it got here, not just the dollar conversion, but shipping and everything else, it was over $500. Plus, there might be some duty on that one because of the price. $100 paddle. If you order a $100 U.S. paddle shipping in from the United States, there's not going to be any duty on it. But if you order a $333 paddle, there will be. And so
I think what Patrick is trying to say is all our U.S. listeners, for every 5-star like that you give this podcast, it's basically, an additional 30% liking.
That's it. Yeah, your likes count as
130%, not just 100% like. So
we can't play favorites. I could do that. U.S. get favorites in our contest, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah. Canada is our roots. Canada is our initial audience, and we are still here in Canada. The way the weather's been lately, I wouldn't mind not being. And but anyway, that's what it is. So when we talked, I just wanted to explain, especially we didn't do an official intro of the podcast. We talked Canadian pickleball, U.S. pickleball, the pro tournaments, the products. Products are products. They're not into, they're not country specific. When we get into tips, and we haven't done that lately, that's, again, not country specific. So we've got lots of content that is valuable for everybody. And even when we talk about our Canadian tournaments, the Pro Tours in Canada, a lot of those players are ending up in the PPA and Major League Pickleball as well.
That's right.
So it's think of like AAA baseball versus pro baseball. This is kind of AAA, and I think the Canadian leagues recognize that, right? Yeah. But their players are going on to great heights. Some of them doing very, very well in Major League Pickleball and PPA, and Jeannie Bouchard doing well as well. Bunch of players. So, and we're going to have some of them on our podcast. And by the way, and again, Catherine Parento, a Canadian, has been number 1 and number 2 in the world in various disciplines over the last few years. Now she plays with Annalie Waters, but she's also been, and Annalie's had her number when they've played singles against each other. But Catherine's won a share of golds, and they've both won almost all the golds up until this year in the women's doubles. But yeah, great player. Catherine's wonderful. We have a great interview of her on the Pickleball Today website or on our YouTube channel as well. She's a lovely person, and we also have some of her lessons, and we'll put more of them on. Yeah. So I think, John, we've covered everything, right?
I think for today we have, yeah. So I mean, I think really what we're kind of hoping is that everyone's going to kind of tune in more often. We're hoping to just have a regular cadence of our episodes here, increase the frequency of our recording here. Now that Patrick and I are kind of, full force on this, we're looking forward to talking about a number of things, as Patrick mentioned earlier, really having a couple of guests on, a couple of pros that he's already in contact with, and some other additional tips, or whether you're playing at a very competitive level or you're just being introduced to pickleball. There's a little something for everybody, whether you're here in Canada or in the U.S. or elsewhere. Certainly we'll be covering topics around MLP, PPA, CNPL, really just, league play. You can keep up to date on some of our travelings, the anecdotes here. Certainly Patrick's thorough testing of products, whether it's safety gear, paddles, or otherwise. But absolutely, we'll try to share as much information as we can together, keep it engaging and interesting and exciting, and absolutely we'll be counting on all our listeners and viewers here to ensure that you give us those likes and make sure you enter to win that paddle at pickleballtoday.co/win.
I will say, John, just we're talking about regular recording. Our next one will be 2 weeks from now. However, I may be on a cruise ship, and I may have to pre-record a portion from the ship so that you'll host and just throw my portion on, because it's pretty unreliable. I tried it before, connecting from the ship for a live podcast. So we'll do what we can do. But if we do it, we're going to be on Holland America. It's the official cruise ship of the PPA Tour, of all things.
Oh my God, that is great.
Yeah, and I have played pickleball on their ships before. The last one I played had 2 courts. This one only has 1, unfortunately, but it's a bigger ship and a newer ship, but they have some with more courts. Anyway, and I don't even know for sure if I'm on it. I'm on standby. I will only find out 3 days before the cruise starts whether I'm going or not. So one way or the other, we're going to have the podcast in 2 weeks, and John will be hosting, and I'll be either co-hosting or mailing it in with a video.
Yeah. So if Patrick is wearing a Hawaiian shirt, you know that he's on the cruise. We'll record 2 episodes, and one he'll be in his usual attire, and the other one will be in a Hawaiian shirt, and you'll know that he's actually offsite.
I'll be in a big parka, freezing. The way it's been it's been cold.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know.
Hey, wherever you are, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you are warm, having a good time. I hope you're playing some good pickleball, and it'll get better this year. If you're feeling well, congratulations. If you're not feeling well, pickleball will do it, but be patient, and stay healthy, stay calm, stay cool, and enjoy your pickleball. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.